in YouTube land. What is up? Brian Zane here. It is Friday, July 24th, and Smackdown has just wrapped up, and therefore it is time for the Smackdown review live. You might have seen on the thumbnail, the main event tonight is a bar fight between Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. Will Jeff Hardy defeat alcoholism and fight back his demons in the form of Sheamus here tonight? We are about to find out. Of course, the show opens up with Jeff Hardy saying, "Hello, I'm Jeff Hardy and I'm an alcoholic." Cuts a promo about Sheamus and the bar fight. We then go to a Sheamus rebuttal where he just laughs at Jeff some more and just... sorry. Tried to silence the phone for this. But, yeah. So Sheamus laughs at him and says he's weak and pathetic. Can you imagine, like, I can't imagine anyone I've ever met or thought, I've never known anyone to treat people with addiction with such malice and just such nastiness. They've really got out of their way to make Sheamus look like a grade A prick in all this. So at least they're accomplishing that. And then the wrap-up here is you've got JBL saying, "I know a thing or two about bar fights, and I'm going to give my pick later after I'm done drinking." So then we go to the first thing we see here is Sasha Banks and Bayley gloating some more, doing what they do best. They call themselves the new definition of greatness, to the point where they even show a full-screen graphic on the big screen with them in a picture. Look at a picture of definition of greatness. There's their picture. They did it. We can all go home now. They say that the women's evolution as they know it ends with them. They're going to start a new era of greatness. And then Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss interrupt. Nikki's hopping mad about what happened at Extreme Rules on Sunday. And so then she wants another title shot. Bayley says you can get another shot if you beat a worthy opponent. And then the winner of that match will go on to face me next week. It's Alexa Bliss. And so we've got this kind of rift being driven here. Like, after all the weeks of, teasing and kind of planting seeds for a Sasha Bayley breakup, suddenly now they're kind of throwing this curveball. Ooh, what if Alexa and Nikki break up? And so we get this thing that they're both hesitant. Nikki shoves Alexa down and says, "We got to do this." And then we have the match. And, the match is okay. The champions join in on commentary. Bayley and Sasha do. And, I think they're doing their job of being annoying and grating, but I think that when they get to their worst point, that's when the two competitors crash into them on the outside. So they calm down after that, though. Nikki misses a crossbody, and she sells her tender ribs, or previously injured ribs from Extreme Rules, and so there's a bit of like a momentum stop in there for Alexa, and that allows Nikki to actually roll up. The dreaded surprise roll-up. It works every time, and Nikki Cross wins and will face Bayley next week. Like I said, the match is okay. Afterward, though, Alexa and Nikki had this awkward chat, and Alexa, no hard feelings. She congratulates Nikki for beating her and says it's time to focus for the match next week. So next week, that means between Raw and SmackDown, Sasha and Bayley could potentially lose both their championship matches. Sasha is holding the physical belt, but it is technically Asuka's, and so she could lose it to Asuka outright on Monday. Bayley could lose the women's championship to Nikki on Friday, which I think would cause if we're playing fantasy booker here, I think some tremendous upheaval if they were to do that. And maybe this could finally be the, the straw that breaks the camel's back. And after, if we predict if we predict a breakup between Sasha and Bayley enough times, then eventually it has to happen, right? That's just law of averages. So maybe next week is the week that we finally see that happen. Yes. Our next segment is a Firefly Fun House, where we get a recap of what happened in the swamp fight at Extreme Rules. Still not great. We're back to Funhouse Bray now. He's not Cajun cult leader Bray anymore. He's in the Funhouse, and he's talking to the severed head lantern the Fiend comes out with. It's in his image. He says that Braun Strowman is come back home. He talks to the lantern some more. You hear some whispers and everything. I don't know. I didn't get to play the clip backwards. Does it say anything special or cool? Let me know in the chat. So then Bray declares, he's had his chance. Whoever he is, whether it's like the personification of the Cajun cult leader Bray or something else that we don't know yet, he says, now it's his turn. The Fiend has been unleashed, basically. Ends with the Fiend shot from the swamp fight, popping out of the swamp, and that's where it ends. Good little Firefly Funhouse. Good to see Bray back in the Funhouse mode there. Our next match is short and sweet. I really want. I gotta put that on a shirt somehow. Short and sweet, a nice little pretty font. Tony Nese and Matt Riddle. Riddle takes care of Nese pretty handily here after a bro Derek. He gets on the microphone and calls out King Corbin, and Corbin comes out and says that Riddle doesn't belong here. And at the end of the day, you'll just be another college bro with no shoes. And so he's putting out a king's ransom to see who can prove that Riddle does not belong. And then Riddle says he'll be the Corbin will be the next special guest star on the Bro Show. That was a terrible comeback by Riddle. He kicks Nese one more time for good measure, and that's how the segment ends. Who will answer the bounty? My prediction, Corbin will just do it himself. Our next segment here will be Miz TV with special guest Naomi. But before that, though, Miz and Morrison consult the trend forecasters. And they're always looking at the big trends. And there's a great setup for them making fun of Seth Rollins throwing up at Extreme Rules, complete with star graphics. Makes me sick. How sick does it make you? Makes me 4 Seth Rollins pukes. Oh, man, that was great. And so then Naomi comes out, and they talk about the hashtag. Naomi deserves better. Naomi says she has millions around the world who are counting on her, and so they are her motivation. Talks about, her viral return at the Rumble earlier this year as well. And Miz goes, wow, why do you go viral when you lose so much? Does it make you sick? How sick does it make you? 5 Seth Rollins pukes. I love that they brought it back, and and all Naomi could do was just sit there and watch as they hammed it up. Miz and Morrison right now in this current thing are actually kind of a treasure. Naomi then has some some bass in her voice. She's really passionate about this part, saying she's busted her butt for a decade, and that's why the fans have been wanting more for her. And she's not wrong either. I think there's a bit of truth, a lot of truth in that promo she spoke there. Miz and Morrison bring out Lacey Evans as a surprise guest, and Lacey, so cruel and callous is she doesn't even look at Naomi when she's talking about her and talking mess and applying makeup. And that prompts Naomi to give her a shove. They fight, Lacey powders out, and that's where the segment ends. Again, solid promo by Naomi here. You could tell she was putting some weight behind a lot of those words. And I mean, the criticism about her booking is fair. It's something I really didn't touch on last week when they had their short little match and whatnot. It's true, though. Naomi is one of the more unique performers in the women's division. She's dynamic. She's really good. I think that Naomi is a good case of, what I've said for a long time, that wrestling isn't really a meritocracy. In theory, it is, but it's also mostly about, who can draw money and stuff and who can draw fans. But then, that still makes no sense. How has Naomi defied this for so long? What has been holding her back? I don't understand how they keep dropping the ball with Naomi. I think that she is so marketable and so dynamic, and she's good in the ring. She's not bad. So I don't understand why they've been wasting on her. And again, they're talking about the hashtag here, so they're acknowledging it. I think it's funny that, considering how much the last couple of weeks they've talked about how the Give Divas a Chance hashtag was such a pivotal moment, and now you've got company men like Booker T who are like, no, that's not, no, don't, no, you have to earn it. She's been there. I think she earns it, Anyway, we go on. After this segment, backstage, Kofi Kingston emerges from the trainer's room, says he'll be out for about 6 weeks after suffering the powerbomb that he got at Extreme Rules of the Tables. Then he gives Big E, he and Xavier's blessing for E to go solo, for a solo run, and that's really exciting. There's no telling how long this will last or how it's going to go, but I'm really excited. The fact they even explicitly said, boom, Big E's a solo guy now. They've started this on his path. I'm really excited for the potential of where that can go. Big E has not been a solo guy in a long time. And I think that even when he was given that push, as Intercontinental Champion many years ago, even then I was kind of well, okay, what's special about him? I didn't quite get him yet. But I think that the last several years where he's been part of the New Day and he's really been able to have this amazing personality, I think the time is right. Again, he's kind of like a Naomi situation where he's been there for so long, and he is such a good performer. He has been kind of pigeonholed in the tag team thing for a long time. So now would be a good chance for him to, with all this experience, and for being one of the biggest merch movers in the company in the last several years as part of the New Day. Yeah, let's give him that run, and let's see what happens. I mean, I think the situation right now with the pandemic, you have less time for these people, and so it might be tricky, but I think the opening's there for Big E to get a pretty decent push. I hope he's not just relegated to IC title or whatever. I hope he can shoot for more than that. And then we also get this promo later from Cesaro and Shinsuke where they say it's not, you know, Big E's time, it's their time. But thinking about that Cesaro and Shinsuke promo we got later in the night makes me wonder who else is left in the tag team scene right now on SmackDown. Sean Ross Sapp had a tweet earlier that just nailed it. You know, the New Day's hurt. The Forgotten Sons are off television. You know, the Usos are hurt. Heavy Machinery, who knows what their status is in this whole thing. And, you know, God, I'm sorry, I got totally spaced. There's the Lucha House Party as well, and they'll be in a singles competition for later in the show. So, yeah, what other teams are there? I guess Lucha House Party's it when they're not in a singles match like we have coming up next. It's a four-way for the number one contendership for the IC Championship. You've got Metalik and Lince Dorado and Drew Gulak and Shorty G in this four-way. And this was the match of the night. Great work, great athleticism by all four guys here. You know, a lot of guys who don't get a whole lot of chances to shine on SmackDown these days, so good for them for making the most of this opportunity. Gable suplexing Lince off the top rope, and then he rolls out. Metalik walks the ropes, hits the elbow drop on Shorty G to win, which is kind of a shock. I think of those four guys, Metalik was not my first pick, my first guess. After the match, AJ Styles, who was on commentary for this matchup, he goes into the ring, offers his hand to Metalik, who does not trust him. That prompts AJ to slap him in the face, and then Metalik slaps him back and hits a DDT. So then that's how it ends. I'm excited for this next week with Styles and Metalik. It's a match that like you probably wouldn't have expected to happen, especially for the championship. So that they're doing this, I think that's a really cool move. I'm not mad. I love that they're giving Metalik this chance. In a shot like this. We will get an update on Otis and Mandy Rose's love story next week. That's good to know. I'm curious to know what's happening to, you know, someone who's technically a heartbeat away from becoming the next champion. In the main event, it is the bar fight as Jeff Hardy takes on Sheamus. I feel like I got a lot of comments and stuff in the Extreme Rules videos, my predictions and the results, the review, where it's like, what happened to the bar fight? And, you know, they made it pretty clear it was going to be on SmackDown, but I think even I thought that it was going to be on the pay-per-view. I even had a lower third graphic made for it in preparation for it, and it never happened. And I would show it to you here, but I don't have it queued up here on OBS. So we have the match. It's the old cinematic style. It's in this bar somewhere. Sheamus walks in first, looking kind of dapper, and then Jeff comes in. They have a bar chat. It's very talky, kind of like what we saw in the swamp fight. It was a swamp chat. Sheamus calling him weak and pathetic, you know, and Jeff goes, "Are you still the bar?" "I am the bar," you know. And so then they start fighting. Sheamus dragging Jeff along the bar, movie style. You love to see it. Lots of back and forth. Jeff throwing basketballs at Sheamus, utilizing the environment around them. It's a good thing those basketballs don't hold grudges, by the way. That's some Batista humor there for you. Fighting with a keg, they fight their way into the bathroom, and like Jeff gets a swirly in the urinal, which is disgusting. But then Jeff throws it back at Sheamus' face. He knocks him into a toilet, and the toilet just collapses underneath him. That's going to be an expensive fix. I'm curious to know what the damage is. Literally what the damage is at this bar fight they had here, and how much they had to compensate the bar. Hardy throws, they're fighting back into the bar area. Jeff grabs a ladder and attacks with it. They're fighting near like these band instruments. What band is playing at a bar right now in this pandemic? And then I thought, oh, well, that's right, though, because they're in Florida, so it's pretty much, Law of the Jungle there. Jeff goes to climb the ladder, but the bartender attacks. Jeff slams him through a table, and then Sheamus knocks out Jeff, puts his hat over Jeff's face. Why? For symbolism, to set up the next bit, obviously, but like you had to cover his mouth with something. So he pours himself a pint. He drinks it, and then he picks up the hat, and BAM! Oh, face paint. That hat had face paint underneath it. I had no idea. It's kind of like a Will-o'-the-Wisp kind of thing, but not quite. It's kind of like a full-face Darby Allin is the best way to describe it. So Jeff comes back, hits a swanton off the ladder onto Sheamus, and so Jeff wins. Jeff closes his eyes, and the white contact he's been wearing are gone. And so Jeff has rid himself of the demons. He has defeated alcoholism. Hooray! Other than the fact that, the victory is symbolic at best, and I certainly hope that Jeff does not fall off the wagon again because it's going to make this match ring super hollow. Real fingers crossed. I'm not trying to joke about that. I really hope he stays clean. But, other the fight was done fairly well. I think I enjoyed this match, this cinematic match, more than the swamp fight. we had on Sunday. The finish, a bit silly. You know, I think you were kind of veering into that weirdo territory with the swamp fight when you've got magic face paint on. But besides that ending, I think the match was solid. And let's have this be the end of exploiting a man's weaknesses for storyline purposes. I don't want to spoil too much going into August, but there is a video I'm doing about, you know, some SummerSlam moments that I'd rather not, you know, relive. And thinking about the Jake Roberts, Jerry Lawler storyline, I was like, wow, they've been doing this consistently for a long time. Just like, let's prey on a man's moment of weakness. So that is the meat and potatoes of the review. And by the way, for those of you, the few of you who've been talking in the comments about you don't want to be spoiled in this lower third, I never quite understood that because you're watching a review that happened in the past, and so you're watching it, so you're going to find out. So just to avoid any kerfuffle with that, I've just laid out the matches here. No wins and losses, just saying these are the matches. So I hope you appreciated that. I hope you understand. I do try and listen. So we are going to. I almost hit the stop streaming button. That would have been bad. We're going to lose the lower third, and here is the grade, a C+. You know, there was nothing mind-blowing about this show, but I really did appreciate Miz TV from a comical perspective. I think Miz and Morrison are great. Don't change a thing. Big E, the news of him going solo is big news here for the reasons I mentioned earlier. And then there's the Fatal 4-Way, which was objectively the best match of the night. The other matches that we saw on this show really couldn't stack up because they're too short or just not great in particular. So that is my take on SmackDown for this week. Drop me your grades in the chat, and we'll just compare and contrast our notes here. I've seen a lot of, like, very not divisive, but split debate over the bar fight match. Some people said they like it. Some people hated it. Oh yeah, CM drunk, of course. That is another example. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for what God. We're at 321 people watching. Thank you so much. Well, now is the part of the review where I look at the super chats. Let's take a look at this. I have to kind of backtrack a bit here. Boom, Cozy Quick with a $4.99 super chat. Just want us to keep up the good work, loving the content. Thank you, Cozy Quick. Harmless Weirdo, $5 super chat. Do I have criteria for rating matches, or do I go off feel? I think it's a bit of both. I think it's kind of a healthy blend. I really take note of, like, how the crowd reacts to the matches, although that's kind of a different, it's kind of on a handicap here in the current setting. You know, I look at, you know, length of a match, or, you know, action to length. I guess I should try. I really should have prepared some kind of formula, but it's, you know, it's on, like, how exciting the match is, how good a story they tell. The length can play into it. I think if it's a really short match, it has you know, it won't be able to get past, you know, 2.5 stars, even if it's, like, really good. If it's really short, for example. So yeah, a lot of it's kind of like how it makes me feel as a fan, and, you know, a lot of it's just kind of like the technical aspect. So it's kind of a blend of both. Jay Leasy, $5 super chat. Do it for the content. Darn Skippy. Jeffrey Turner, aka MegaJetty1, a $5 super chat. Let's see here. Just saw it. Makes me want to watch WWE again after several years of not watching it. Hope it's a sign of them returning to the Attitude/Ruthless Aggression era. I assume you mean the bar fight when you talk about it and being what you saw. Yeah, I mean, the whole idea of returning to those eras, I think that's kind of it's fool's gold. It's something that, it's false hope. You can take elements from those eras that worked and were successful, and you can re-implement them in today's product, but I wouldn't say let's do a wholesale backstep toward a certain thing. Let's not say Attitude Era 2.0, the Ruthlesser Aggression era, for example. Let's not do that, but we can take some elements that worked. And, you know, I think you could argue that the bar fight could have fit in those eras, especially the Attitude Era. So, yeah, I think that's something to ponder. Again, it's kind of a divisive thing. We'll see what the future holds. King of the Ozone, $5 Canadian, says, thank you for your hard work. Would you consider covering Backlash 09? It's the Jeff, Matt, I Quit match, and Psycho Orton versus Triple H. I'd have to look at the list and see if it's nominated. Trust me, at one point I will get to every single show that's been nominated. It's a long list, and it's every other week, so it's going to take a while. But if Backlash 09 has been nominated, I'm sure I will get to it eventually. Niall Witherspoon, $9.99 Super Chat. Big E versus Braun at SummerSlam or Survivor Series. Ooh. No, I think not at SummerSlam. They're clearly telegraphing Braun and Bray at SummerSlam at the conclusion of that. And that's what I would assume. So that gives you time if we're going to really invest in this Big E solo run. Then yeah, I think you could carve out a path for him that would end up with him getting a title shot by Survivor Series, whether it's Intercontinental or Universal. I think that you can make a good case for him to challenge for the Universal title, I think, again, if you book it right. So, that would be my take. I would say it's close, more likely at Survivor Series, if he's going to fight Braun for the title at all. If Braun's going to be champion by then at all. We just don't know. Myron Siren, $3 Australian, asking, who is my all-time favorite wrestler? For overall body of work, I would say Chris Jericho is my favorite. I've made no bones about my love of Chris Jericho during the Wednesday Warfare shows, and just this past week, Bash to the Beach 98, my review for that, talking about how I first really saw Chris Jericho doing the conspiracy victim thing, and how I loved it. So I guess overall, I'd say Jericho, but like, if we're talking about a specific time period, I still think that Brock Lesnar in his first run of the company, that's my favorite wrestler. Because he was just so unreal and so unlike anything you ever saw at that time. And even since, I would argue. Edward Economist. Thank you for the question, by the way, Myron. Edward Economist, $5 Australian. We all know how bad Jeff is on the mic. But who are some other bad mic workers? Gosh, like there's a good number of people. I'm trying to think of who currently I've not been impressed with on the microphone, but a lot of it has to do with like the scripting, the overly scripted nature of things. Ricochet, every time he cuts a promo, I think he's gonna cry. Like, I don't know what it is, but like, I don't know if he's nervous or what, but hearing him cut a promo is borderline comical to me. And I don't want to diss him, but I just don't think promos are his strong suit, which I think is the one thing that's really holding him back. So that's my take on that. I mean, I'm trying to think who else off the top of my head. I mean, there's historically some bad mic people. Warrior, you could argue, was not very eloquent, but he was intense, and you listened to him. You listened to what he had to say. I don't know. Greg Valentine. Okay, let's drop some old names here. I don't know. I'd have to really think about that one as far as the worst mic people. And if you want to go back to like my most awesomely bad promos countdown, Ahmed Johnson's one, Jumpin' Jeff Farmer, Lex Luger's never been a great promo. Tyler Joseph Smith, $1.99 Super Chat. Do I still care about The Fiend, or did Goldberg ruin him? God, it's like, I'm trying to think, like that. No, I don't think Goldberg ruined him. I think that his Universal Championship reign was kind of pointless at the time, and so if you're just going to have him do it to drop it to Goldberg, then why do that? I think you could have walked a path toward WrestleMania with John Cena, and I think it would have been a lot stronger if he didn't have the belt in the first place. So I don't think Goldberg ruined him. It's, when you brought it up, I kind of forgot, honestly, because it's been so long since they really utilized The Fiend. I think it was after WrestleMania, they just went hard off with that, and they only brought him back this Sunday. So I think that's a lot of restraint to have gone as long as they have without really utilizing The Fiend. They've taken enough time for it to cool down, and so now I think they could do something with him. And so hopefully something can come with that. Hang on, I have to look at this one. King of the Ozone, $2 Canadian Super Chat. I can't read the bottom of it. No! Hang on, let me just try and backtrack. How did I feel when my prediction came true? I don't know. I guess, you never want to be proven right about stuff like that. King of the Ozone, $2 Canadian, asking one of my thoughts on the new Impact hires. I think it's great. I think it's good for them for getting work. As far as who has the most upside, I'd probably have to say EC3 or Carl Anderson, depending on whatever happens to the Good Brothers. But I don't know. I think that, time will tell. Again, the pandemic has made everything feel kind of chaotic, and even when they try with wrestling, it still doesn't feel quite the same. It feels like they're handcuffed in a lot of ways. So I don't know what these new signees will bring. Hopefully, good news is my thoughts. King of Blurred Style with the $5 super chat just chimed in. Didn't watch Smackdown. I was waiting for your review. Thanks for the awesome content. Thank you, King of Blurred Style. Adam had an interesting question here in the chat. Should Ring of Honor do a Wrestle Island like UFC did with the Fight Island? I don't know. It'd be fun, I'm sure. But no, I think that just keeping things clean and trying to avoid touching each other and wearing masks when you're not wrestling is probably the way to go right now. I'm curious to know how like these other promotions like GCW will fare with their outdoor shows and like what kind of like, I mean, I know they had one already, so or two already actually. So I'm curious to see how those, you know, hopefully those won't there'll be no breakouts. Hopefully this will be the time when wrestling fans collectively decide to practice good hygiene. Which I think that was the biggest thing and the biggest concern going into Mania weekend was like when there were people like myself, unfortunately, who were still confident, like, you know, we can still make it work. Mania weekend can still work. Like, no. Wrestling fans have no chill. They have no concept of personal space or boundaries or hygiene or sanitation. It would be a disaster if it happened. Patrick Blackwood, $4.99. Do you like the open challenges Cody does each week on Dynamite? Yes, I do. I think that they've been really fun so far. It's been giving us... It's kind of like... I mean, I don't... It sounds trite for me to compare it to John Cena's Open Challenge with the U.S. title, but that's the closest thing I can come to right now, where it's like he's wrestling a range of opponents every week. He's on TV every week. He's having like good to great matches with this big variety of people who normally may not get a shot at the championship. And by the way, I'm stoked as shit that Warhorse is challenging Cody next week. That's going to be so cool. I cannot wait. I'm so glad the Warhorse like campaign resulted in that. That's so awesome, and all the luck to Warhorse there. Jesus A. I'm going to say Jesus A. $2 super chat. Shout out from Seattle. Hope you're staying safe there in Seattle, by the way. And by the way, congratulations on the Kraken. Do I review New Japan content? No, I do not. And it's not like from a lack of like, it's not for me like not liking New Japan. I don't really care for New Japan's product. I think it's a bit too exhausting to watch at times. Like their matches just like, you can tell a story in 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be 30, is all I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, I don't have time in my week to really keep abreast of New Japan content. I know there's people out there who are far better at it than me. Their names I honestly don't remember at the moment. But if you guys in the chat have some names who do New Japan content stuff, like drop it in the chat as well, and I'll put them over. Is Warhorse a relation to Wardlow? No, he is not, as far as I can tell. No, but Warhorse formerly is Jake Parnell, Jake the Warhorse Parnell, and he's really in the last year or so he's really kind of like leaned into the Warhorse thing. He doesn't not be Jake Parnell anymore. He's very heavy metal. It's a really cool gimmick. I think he's really carved out a great niche for himself in the indies. So if you're not familiar with Warhorse, you should go check him out. He's all over Twitter. He posts a ton of content on there, and he's part of the same kind of crop of talent of like RJ City, Danhausen, Alley Cat, Dan the Dad, of these kind of irreverent wrestling characters who have a good online personality, a good online presence, and that's kind of what's getting them noticed at this point. So go check those folks out. They're all good people. I'm going to wrap this up in the next 5 minutes, by the way. I just wanted to let you know about that. But before then, I do want to just give you a heads up of what we've got on the channel coming down the pike next week. Well, first of all, if you enjoyed my wrestler review and you thought it was very tasteful and well done, then, well, this is going to be the opposite of that. This is what I'm reviewing next week. It is Slammed, a movie that came out in 2004, but it was made in 2001. So it was on the shelf for 3 years. And I would say 9/11 is probably maybe a reason they delayed it. Hard to tell because I don't know when they produced this, when they actually filmed it. But 9/11 alone is not a reason to hold this back for 3 years. That's all I'm saying. And you're going to find out why next week. Let's see here. Also, as you may have heard at the end of the Bash of the Beach review, SummerSlam 98 is my next classic review. That's 2 weeks from Wednesday. So I hope you check that out. Somebody asked, what are my thoughts about the NWA? I look forward to when they can come back. Billy Corgan made a statement last week saying it's not going anywhere, and so I hope that stays true. So yeah, I wish them for the best of luck. Will I live stream the Battlegrounds game? Yeah, that's my plan. I tried to get one of those like early access codes to it, but like you had to have a Twitch account to do it, and I didn't have a Twitch account, and I don't want to start one. Is there anyone I'm hoping to see in the women's tag team tournament? I mean, there's a lot of women right now who are established in AEW, and I think you could fill out like at least 3/4 of the bracket with established women. You've got Brandy and Allie. That's one team right there. I'm trying to think who else. There's not a lot of other established female tag teams, unfortunately. But I think you could fill that out pretty well. At least half and half is the thing. But I don't know. There's no like. I'm trying to think of any like prominent lady wrestlers in the indies who haven't really gotten a look. But I can't really think of any. By the way, Stephen Larson covered New Japan as well, somebody pointed out. Also, somebody asked about my Bash the Beach 2000 review. That will drop this weekend. That will re-upload this weekend. It got blocked several weeks ago, and I'm hoping that it will not have any incidents on version 2. Who are my picks to win the North American title ladder match? No way to tell, because I've only had one name confirmed so far. So, the men in one show and the women in the other. Oh, like splitting Raw and SmackDown to like men only and ladies only? That's not a good idea, because as much as a lot of the women, as good as many of the women are, there's really no one who can carry that show right now. Because Becky's out, Charlotte's out, Ronda Rousey's not coming back anytime soon. So really now your anchors are like Bayley and Sasha and Asuka, and Kairi's out soon. You could call some ladies up from NXT, but then NXT is super depleted. So I don't think it's healthy or good to try and split the shows up by gender. So that's my take on that. Why did it get taken down? You'll never guess. You're never gonna believe this, bro. Why the Bash the Beach 2000 review got blocked, bro. I finally looked at it today, bro. It's the footage of the evening gown match, bro. There was too much of it together, bro, and that's why they blocked it 2 years after it was originally released, bro. Somebody from the offices over in Stamford, Connecticut, bro, got a look at that, turned on the YouTube machine, bro, and they saw the evening gown match, and, bro, you will not believe how mad they got about it, bro. And that is why Bash the Beach 2000 was blocked, bro. But you're going to appreciate this, bro, because it's coming back this weekend. Thank you. Ken Terminated by DQ, $5 super chat. Thank you for responding. Long-time subscriber. Thanks for being here, Ken. And with that, I think we're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching, folks. Thank you for being part of the Smackdown Review Live. If you missed this review, don't worry, because it will be up later tonight in archived form. And, yeah, again, let me know what you guys think about the live format. We do the Taz voice. I practically did the Taz voice. It was like if I was a little more animated about it, Vince Russo would have become Taz. But thank you so much for watching, folks. And we'll be back here live Monday night with the Raw review. And we'll see how all that shakes out. What will Randy Orton's next move be, I wonder, after Drew destroys Dolph once again? So thank you guys so much for watching, and it's been a lot of fun. We'll do it again sometime. But until then, I'm Brian Zane. I'll see you next time. Gird your loins for Slammed, coming on Wednesday.